Well, it's been about 3 weeks since I've built my first computer, and I thought it'd be kind of cool just to kind of go over all the parts that I used to get this computer operational. During the last 3 weeks, I've been testing it. I've been stress testing the CPU and the GPU. I've downloaded all my programs. I've been tweaking, my OBS studio software and playing games and tweaking those games and doing all that kind of fun stuff. But as a first-time computer builder, I didn't have any reference points to build my machine except for watching tons and tons of YouTube videos. Guys like Jay's 2 Cents, Linus Tech Tips, Paul's Hardware, Bitwit, among others. But I think the most influence or the most help I received from YouTube was watching the channel Jay's 2 Cents. But anyway, if you're getting ready to build your first computer, make sure you search YouTube and you get plenty of ideas. So in December, when I first started planning to build, like I said, no reference to go by, I picked a tower almost randomly. I didn't want a dirt cheap $20, $30 tower. I didn't want to afford, $150 or $200 tower. So I was just searching around Amazon and, tons and tons of cases out there, obviously, and I landed upon this. The mid-tower NZXT H510. It's a mid-case tower. It'll fit any size board, mini, full ATX, micro ATX. It's got a glass-tempered panel here. The back comes off really easy. Plenty of room to work inside of it. The back side has tons of channels for cable management, and you have that shroud on the bottom that covers the PSU that makes cable management pretty easily, especially if you have a fully modular power supply, which I did end up getting. Let me see if I can find it. So I got this one right here. Again, I did my little bit of research on power supplies. I didn't want a dirt cheap one. And actually right now this is showing $116. I got mine on Prime for like $98.99 plus tax. So it's a 650 watt gold rated, fully modular. And the modular part of it is perfect because I would have had a ton more cables to manage if it was not. So I couldn't be happier with this model. If it's in your budget, try and get a fully modular one, or at least a semi-modular one. So after the case was actually the first thing I picked out. The second thing right after that was the CPU. I went with Ryzen, the 2700X. I chose Ryzen because I already have a pre-built computer that came with a Ryzen 2600, and I wanted something that was more powerful or had more cores, more threads than what I have right now, or what I did have then. And you can see here it's at $274. I bought mine during the holidays for $159.99. So that was the time to buy during Christmas time or during, Black Friday holiday sales. So literally, what, $114 cheaper than it's selling for right now. So if you wait around or search around, you can find a good deal. And then after I had my tower and my CPU, I went ahead and I was thinking about storage, and I ended up buying my boot drive, which is still the same price, $88, the Samsung 970 EVO with 500 gigabytes. At first I thought I overspent, but then I still think I overspent, but the speed of this thing to boot your system and to download, and to have your programs on, or maybe a game or two, it's worth it because it is fast. So if you have the money and you're planning on building your first computer, consider investing in this NVMe drive, any type of NVMe drive, because you'll like it in the long run, fast boot times. If you can't get that, just get a SATA drive that will actually boot really well too. My 2600 build behind me, where is it? Right there. It has just a cheap ADATA boot drive that boots really, really quick. And for my mass storage, I did get a 2 terabyte, I think a Western Digital hard drive. It's just an old mechanical drive. It's not old because I bought it brand new, but 2 terabytes, more than enough. It's just fine for loading my pictures, my videos. For example, this video I'm doing, it's going right to that hard drive. I couldn't be happier than that. It does what it's supposed to do. Store my mass storage. What's the next thing I did? Oh, RAM. The whole time I was planning this build, RAM, I was thinking 2 sticks of 8 gigabytes each, either 3000 or 3200 megahertz. You know, probably would have run about $75 to $95, depending if I wanted the RGB or not. But, oh gosh, in January, I think it was, or maybe early February, I got an email from Newegg. You know, you get a daily email if you want, or a weekly email. And this 2x16 kit was $126 plus tax at the time, but they also had a $10 promotional code, which basically whacked off the tax. So I got these 2 sticks here for $126 out the door, so to speak, or, you know, $116 plus tax, or $117 plus tax at 3200 megahertz. So I went for it, and I could not be happier. I got plenty of memory to do whatever tasks. I can have a ton of applications open, and it's barely taxing that aspect of my rig. So good deal on those. But if you can afford it, try and go higher. Now that I have hindsight, I would have gotten a 3400 or a 3600 megahertz speed instead of the 3200. But all in all, I'm happy with this. And then after that, I went back and forth about what kind of GPU I should get. I was mostly thinking between the 5700, not the XT, but just a regular RX 5700, or 1660 Ti, or a 2060, maybe even 2060 Super. But I got too anxious, and I didn't want to, you know, wait any longer to purchase this. I wanted to get started on my build, so I ended up, I guess, settling for a 1660 Super, the Gaming X edition, and I couldn't be happier with it, because I've been used to using the RX 580 on the 2600 build, and for me, it's a huge upgrade. Playing the games that I do, I'm not a heavy gamer, and I do light video editing like this. I'm good at video edit. If I have a 10-minute video, you know, at 1080p, 60 frames per second, this computer is going to render it in probably 3 or 4 minutes. That's how quick that is. And with the 4K video that I do shoot, you know, a 5-minute video maybe takes 5 minutes to render, if that. So I couldn't be happier with the CPU/GPU combination. And so once I ordered that, I was ready to go, you know, and I bought 6 of these fans. They're just cheap LED fans. They do push air. They do everything what they're supposed to do. It makes my case look nice and pretty. And so I ordered 2 packs, so 6 fans. Of course, I only used 3 of the fans, and I put the other 3 fans in my 2600 build back there. And then after you get your computer all built, you know, it's good to go. It posts for the first time. Well, you have to install some sort of operating system. So for me, it was Windows 10 Pro. You know, I looked at 12 websites before I picked one, and it's kind of just like you're taking a chance. You're going to throw whatever, $14, $15, $16 into the air and hope you get an email link that you can get a Windows 10 key from. So this is the website I settled on. What is it called? Lowpricevendor.com, Windows Pro. I paid the $14.99 via PayPal, and about 2 minutes later, I got a confirmation saying that your order's been received. And about 7 or 8 minutes later, I got an email with the Windows key, I put that Windows key into the activation place on the Windows, on the operating system, and it took right away, and that was 3 weeks ago, and everything's been working just fine. So if you're looking to find an affordable Windows 10 Pro home key, check out lowpricevendor.com. I'm in no way affiliated with it. I took a leap of faith and it worked. That way you're not dropping $99 or $130 or $200 for the Pro edition of Windows 10, because I wasn't going to do it anyway. I would have rather had the watermark than pay that much. But anyway, that's what I consider a great deal right there. And then after that, after my build's gone, now, you know, again, you do all the stress tests, the bench testing, the Cinebench testing, all the GPU testing. You try to overclock your CPU, overclock your GPU. Then you focus on the temperature of the CPU. Do I have enough cooling? And so, even though I did have enough cooling with the 2700X stock Wraith Prism cooler, I wanted more cooling. So after a little bit of research, I went ahead and I purchased something in my price range, the Cooler Master Hyper 212 RGB Black Edition. I slapped that on and it is 10 times better, I'm exaggerating, than the stock cooler that comes with the 2700X. And so I'm talking a lot cooler, about 15%, 18% better when you stress test your computer. So I do recommend this Cooler Master if you do some overclocking, or if you're a hardcore gamer, get an aftermarket cooler. But if you're just using it as a workstation, the stock cooler that comes with that 2700X will do you just fine. So I played with that. I've tweaked this. 2 or 3 days, you try and do all the things. I put an extra fan on the back side of that cooler, and just to eke out another probably 1/4 degree or 1/2 degree Celsius lower CPU temps. And then, you know, you start reading about airflow, and you start reading about fans and how to keep your components really cool. And then, of course, you come across the fan of all fans, a Noctua fan for $30. Well, $30 is a lot of money for one single case fan. But yeah, I bought one. I bought one to test out, and I replaced it. I put this fan where on the heatsink on my Hyper 212, and now I've been testing it for just the past couple days, 48 or 72 hours, I can't remember, doing a lot of stress tests and just comparing it to what the stock fan did on the Hyper 212. And the stock fan does its job just fine. You don't really get too much improvement with this fan, but there is some improvement, maybe anywhere from 1/2 degree or to 1.5 degrees Celsius better cooling. And so that did replace my fan. And is it $30 well spent? Probably not, but for me it was. And now I have one that I can just take with me if I ever do another build, which I probably will. Things I'm going to do, I'm going to get some cable extensions for my power supply, just to have a white build, because I do have a white build here, and I'll show it to you after this video, or after I'm done with this. Little things like that to tweak it out. I might buy a couple more of these fans, but you know, at $30 a pop, maybe I'll do one every payday, which means one every 2 weeks, to see if I can increase the cooling and I have great airflow, but let's try for better airflow. As a first-time builder, I'm more than pleased with the system that I built, and I'm still excited about it. I come home every day from work, and I just tweak stuff, and I play with stuff, stress tests, gaming, the whole 9 yards. So I'm very, very, very happy with this 2700X. Here's what my system looks like. To me, I love it. To you, it might just but here it is, and thanks for watching.